Good morning, everyone, and happy Tuesday. If you're anything like me, you're getting excited for Christmas. I still have a few things left to do before the big day, but I enjoy this time of year. I like all the different baking and the just the festivities, even the Christmas music. I don't get sick of it. So I may be a little bit weird to some of you, but that's me. I'm excited for Christmas. So Casey is away today. She will be back on Thursday when we do our Thoughts for Thursday live. So today you just have me, but I have an interesting topic ready for you. But before I get into that, I wanted to make sure that I mention our gluten-free challenge coming up in January. It's going to be a free challenge in my group, the Happy Joints Arthritis Solutions group, and also in Casey's group, Nutrition for Women with Autoimmune Disease. And if you are interested in joining us, please just comment down below and just say I'm in. And what we'll do is we're going to send you a private message in Facebook Messenger to give you the details and to get you set up. So yes, so comment I'm in if you are interested in joining us on the gluten-free challenge. So for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Jessica Melnick. I am a registered holistic nutritionist. I am the founder of the Anti-Arthritis Method program, and I'm the host of the Happy Joints Arthritis Solutions group. So today, I'm going to talk about something that is near and dear to my heart, and that is I'm going to be talking about the difference between osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis and why it's so important to know the type of arthritis that you have so that you can make sure that you're getting the most appropriate medical treatment. It also comes in handy when it comes to what diet and lifestyle changes you need to make as well. There are overlaps, and I'm going to get into that a little bit more today, and just make sure that you really understand the differences between the two, because I do run up into a lot of people in my community who actually are not sure what type of arthritis that they have. So it could either be they haven't had the appropriate testing complete. Their doctor may have just told them, a blanket statement like you have arthritis and didn't let them know what type. So it's really important to know what kind you have, because they have kind of different origin points, as well as there's different medical treatments for them. And I'm also going to get into what works in terms of a nutrition and lifestyle standpoint in order to get your symptoms under control. So the underlying core of arthritis, all arthritis, whether it's osteoarthritis, rheumatoid, psoriatic, inflammatory, all the different kinds of arthritis that we can run into, the underlying core is actually inflammation. So, and that is also an underlying factor in every disease. So everything from diabetes, cancer, cardiovascular disease, Alzheimer's, dementia, and the list goes on. So inflammation. Now let's get into osteoarthritis. So for those of you who are familiar with my work, I do work mostly with people who have autoimmune forms of arthritis, like rheumatoid arthritis or psoriatic arthritis. So osteoarthritis actually is not considered an autoimmune disease, at least not at this point in time. I know there is some newer research out there that kind of hints at it possibly being a type of autoimmune condition, but for now, within the general medical community, it is not considered an autoimmune condition. Now, most people are familiar with osteoarthritis because it is the most common form. It's often referred to as degenerative arthritis or degenerative joint disease. Now, osteoarthritis occurs when the cartilage between your bones deteriorates over time. So it usually starts on an isolated joint, and symptoms can be very similar to rheumatoid arthritis symptoms. But while osteoarthritis can happen with age, it's not a normal part of the aging process. And left untreated, the cartilage wears down completely, and it can cause the bones to rub against each other, causing very painful inflammation, stiffness, pain, and swelling. So over time, the changes to bones between our joints can begin to affect your hands, your hips, and even your spine. So the risk of developing osteoarthritis is determined by a number of factors that include age, gender. Women are actually more likely to develop osteoarthritis than men. Obesity, injuries, genetics, bone deformities such as malformed joints or defective cartilage, metabolic diseases, including diabetes. Now, the tests for osteoarthritis include x-rays, MRIs, joint fluid extraction, having a scope done of the joint, synovial tissue biopsies, synovial fluid analysis, and ultrasound. Now, right now, conventional medical system treats the inflammation with medications that can be really harmful to our overall health and that actually don't get to the root cause. So conventional medicine currently treats the symptoms and it doesn't actually address the root cause of arthritis. So, however, we now know that osteoarthritis is part of metabolic syndrome and a digestive issue. So it can be reversed by changing your diet to remove inflammatory foods such as gluten, dairy, and processed sugars. So I have a really helpful article about osteoarthritis that I'm going to put in the comments later on in our little show today so that you can read that. It's a really interesting take on osteoarthritis and what you can actually do in terms of diet and lifestyle. So, and there is a lot of overlap there in terms of how we actually deal with autoimmune forms of arthritis like rheumatoid arthritis. So I'm going to go into what rheumatoid arthritis is right now. So like I said before, it is an autoimmune condition. Same with psoriatic arthritis. And there are a few other forms of arthritis that are autoimmune, like ankylosing spondylitis. There's also inflammatory arthritis is a word that is put out there in terms of an autoimmune condition. So an autoimmune condition. So I'm just going to refer to autoimmune forms of arthritis as rheumatoid arthritis for now, just for brevity's sake. So this occurs when the body begins attacking the joints and mistaking them as foreign invaders. So our body starts to attack the thin membrane surrounding the joints, allowing fluid and immune complexes to build up in the joints and cause significant pain. So normally these immune complexes filter out of your blood on their own, but when there is a buildup, they tend to settle into different joints and cause local inflammation and tissue damage. So when these immune complexes build up in the joints, they can cause pain and swelling that is characteristic of rheumatoid arthritis. So typically, RA starts in the small joints such as the hands, fingers, and toes, and it progresses to larger joints like the wrists, ankles, knees, and hips. So the pain and swelling is usually on both sides of the body or in bilateral joints. So unlike osteoarthritis, which usually begins in an isolated joint. But to make things confusing, if you have something like psoriatic arthritis, you're not necessarily going to have that symmetrical joint pain like you would often see in rheumatoid arthritis. I myself have psoriatic arthritis. I haven't ever really had both ankles flare up or both hips flare up. It's usually always been one or the other. So also, if someone in your family has rheumatoid arthritis or any autoimmune disease, then you are more likely to develop RA in your future or within your lifetime or another autoimmune condition. So if you have already been diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, then you are 3 times more likely to develop a second autoimmune condition. So this is so important to know because you can get your rheumatoid arthritis under control. And if you do that, then you're also preventing possible future autoimmune conditions. So if you leave this untreated or we're just treating it with medication, over the long term, it's very likely to develop a second autoimmune condition. So if you have any autoimmune conditions at all, it's really common to develop another one. Now, this is just an interesting tidbit. Studies using identical twins found that genetics only account for about 25%, and environmental factors account for 75% of autoimmune conditions. Now, that is a good thing because that tells us that there is so much that we can actually do to get these conditions under control and in remission. Now, rheumatoid arthritis and autoimmune forms of arthritis are diagnosed based on a combination of symptoms, physical exams, and blood tests. So typically your doctor is going to order the following blood tests to look for signs of inflammation as well as autoimmunity. And sometimes x-rays of the affected joints are going to be ordered as well. So blood tests for anti-nuclear antibodies, rheumatoid factor, anti-citrullinated peptide protein antibodies, which is also known as anti-CCP, erythrocyte sedimentation rate, or ESR, and high sensitivity C-reactive protein. Okay, so those are 5 different tests that your doctor may look for in order to find out if your arthritis is an autoimmune form or if it is a osteoarthritic form. So symptoms of rheumatoid arthritis, like I said, this often overlaps with the symptoms of osteoarthritis. So things like joint pain, swelling, tenderness, stiffness, and deformity in the joints or fingers, fatigue, anemia, unintentional weight loss and lack of appetite, nodules or stiff bumps under the skin, frequent urinary tract infections, and having a low-grade fever. Now, conventional medical treatment for both types of arthritis, osteo and autoimmune, is medication. Lifestyle modifications such as diet and exercise and weight loss, physiotherapy and surgery are often suggested as well. But unfortunately, medications over the long run can actually contribute to the source of arthritis and create other health problems for us. And I'm sure that your doctor likely didn't give you the details on what you were supposed to eat or instructions on how to lose weight. So often, when we have conditions, our doctors kind of give us like blanket statements. We might get a prescription for medication, and then if there's a lifestyle change that we need to make, often it's lose weight, exercise more, eat less. There's not a whole lot of information on how to actually go about doing that. So although Casey and I focus on autoimmune conditions, for the most part, Casey very specifically focuses on autoimmune conditions in general, whereas I am more focused on just autoimmune forms of arthritis. Our approaches still work for osteoarthritis because it decreases inflammation in the body, it improves digestion and gut health, and it gets your blood sugar under control. So remember when I mentioned that metabolic syndrome is actually a factor in osteoarthritis for a lot of the time? That has to do with having blood sugar that is out of control. So metabolic syndrome is a combination of things like diabetes or prediabetes, obesity, and other factors that are all related. So getting your blood sugar under control is very, very important and necessary to get your osteoarthritis under control. So also, when you are decreasing inflammation in your body by eating the correct foods and making recommended lifestyle changes, weight loss becomes possible. You need to address the inflammation in order to lose weight, not eating less and exercising more. So it has to do more with decreasing inflammation in your body and getting your hormones and getting everything in balance before that you can actually lose weight. So eating less and exercising more is not the solution for everybody. And I have also myself worked with clients who have osteoarthritis, and although we can't reverse permanent joint damage, they still experience significant improvements with the program. So if you would like to be guided through this process, let us know in the comments and we will send you a private message to connect you with us and to give you more details of how we can help you. But I also want to make sure and remind you again, if you didn't hear at the beginning of this live is that we are hosting the gluten-free challenge in January. So this is going to guide you through getting rid of one of the most inflammatory proteins out of our diets. So if you can start to see the incredible impact that diet changes can have, and that you can start to feel amazing in January. It's incredible how making correct diet changes and getting rid of inflammatory foods out of your diet, and we get this very specific on what those things are and what to look for, because there's this whole anti-inflammatory diet trendy speak that's going on right now. And when it comes to arthritis, there's a very specific a number of foods that we look at as anti-inflammatory. So what one person may consider what is anti-inflammatory, an anti-inflammatory diet may not be anti-inflammatory for people with arthritis. There's a very specific way to eat when you have arthritis. So we're going to start with gluten. So gluten-free challenge coming up in January. Stay tuned for our next lives for this Thursday. We'll be back in the new year, and we're going to give you way more information on that challenge coming up. And just comment down below, I'm in, if you are interested in joining this challenge. And Casey and I will send you a private message in Facebook Messenger to get you set up. So with that being said, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and we will see you on Thursday. All right, take care, everybody.